Hey guys, glad you're here. The only company I've had for the past month is Kirby, and he doesn't really say much. Yes, hi Kirby. You've said that already. That's all you ever say.
You should play my first 6 traditional games.
Yes, hi Kirby. Wait, what? I can't take it anymore.
Hey Kirby, why don't you say hi to this? Sweet silence. Why do I feel like playing Kirby's first 6 traditional games? Kirby's Dream Collection, celebrating 20 years of Kirby. This collection came out in Japan on July 19, 2012, and then got a North American release on September 16th and features the first 6 traditional Kirby games. Along with the game, it came with a soundtrack CD and a neat little book of info on Kirby. Is that Kirby on a tank? Why didn't we get this game? Instead, we got Kirby's Dreamland 1 and 2 for the Game Boy, Kirby's Adventure for the NES, Kirby Superstar and Dreamland 3 for the SNES, and finally, Kirby 64 The Crystal Shards for the Nintendo 64. Up to this point, my experience with these games consists entirely of ripping Gourmet Race and Popstar to use as background music in most of my videos. They're so good. Even in later games, my experience is still limited. Besides maining Kirby and Smash Bros., I've only controlled Kirby in 2 games. Kirby Air Ride, a game which actually belongs to my younger brother, and Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, which is a remake of Kirby's Adventure. Something I didn't realize until doing research for this video.
But despite my lack of Kirby games, I do adore him. At least that overstaying his welcome. I even guilted my mom to buy me the amiibo for him when they first came out. And if that's not adoration, I don't know what is.
Now when the game is booted up, it presents 3 options. One for challenge stages, one for the 6 classic games, and a gallery. The gallery is just a cute, fun display of events that have happened since the first Kirby game debuted up to the release of this game. At first, I thought the events they listed were random, minus the Nintendo system launches. Then I realized, these are all events Kirby cares about. Sweets, space exploration, the Olympics, and US politics. At the end, you can even watch an orchestra perform Gourmet Race to Green Green Shaper music. But we're not going to do that, because we're here for the games. Now the main meat of the game is the collection, so let's get started. Kirby's Dreamland is the first Kirby game, well, ever. And I was shocked to learn a lot of what Kirby is known for didn't originate until his next game. For instance, he's white and lacks his copy ability. And though this changes immediately in the next game, it's still canon. He can still devour his enemies though, so some things never change. I was originally just going to play a sample of each game, but this one was short enough that I beat it in just under 1.5 hours. This is because the game had no save function. I don't think the developers expected kids to sit around for much longer than that. My time would have been much shorter, but Ricco was a tough nut to crack. Oh. I never want to fight that boss again. It was cruel to make me fight him and then immediately fight him again in the boss rush. But anyway, beating the game once allows you to unlock a code to adjust the difficulty to harder. Defeating it on this mode allows you to unlock another code where you can adjust lives and health and listen to music whenever you want. The story of this game is quite banal, and isn't explicitly stated in the game because this is back when developers used manuals to explain things. I miss manuals. The story is as follows. King Dedede steals all the food in Dreamland, and the Sparkling starts to make more food. Kirby decides to get it all back, and then he does. Games were so simple back then. The next game is Kirby's Adventure. I played through this game as the re-released Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland, as stated before. But this was long ago, so I thought I might as well beat it again. But then again, I remember it fairly well. No need wasting my time. Well, this was a real step up for the second Kirby game. It was released on the NES, which gave the developers more freedom and allowed the copy ability to first shine. But beyond that, they're able to play with the levels. Instead of just one after another, you're able to go through them at your leisure, and each stage of a level unlocks more of the level, and not just always the next stage. They often unlock mini-games where you could earn extra lives, or battles where you could kill somebody and take their power, or you could go into a museum and just eat the exhibits for powers. In this game's plot, nobody can dream, which is unusual in Dreamland. King Dedede is depicted as the main antagonist, but he's actually a good guy. An evil creature called Nightmare had begun corrupting the Fountain of Dreams where all dreams come from. So King Dedede stole the Star Rod, defended its power source, so the fountain couldn't be corrupted. Kirby understandably misunderstands and thinks Dedede is up to his old tricks, and goes about trying to stop him by going through multiple levels until finally confronting the old king himself. Upon Dedede's defeat, Nightmare appears and Kirby goes on to fight him. Upon Nightmare's defeat, Kirby returns the Star Rod to the Fountain of Dreams and reconciles with Dedede as peace reigns in Dreamland once more. The third game is a direct sequel to Kirby's Dreamland, and it's aptly titled Kirby's Dreamland 2. However, it's very different from the original in terms of gameplay. The game is much longer and Kirby retains his copy ability from Kirby's Adventure. In addition, Kirby also has 3 new animal friends that he continuously saves from mini-bosses, who help navigate the level and fight enemies. Sadly, I spoiled the ending for myself on YouTube, so I decided to stop playing here, and no other reason. Dedede is both the enemy and not the enemy. He's been possessed by a creature called Dark Matter, who wants to conquer Dreamland, who plans to do so by stealing the Rainbow Bridges. However, this game has 2 endings. In the first 7 levels, there are collectible items called Rainbow Drops, obtained by navigating with a specific animal, friend, and power, and generally requiring exploration to find. If you choose not to collect all 7, the game ends after you defeat DDD, and he remains possessed, I guess. I don't really know. However, if you do collect all 7, after DDD's defeat, the Rainbow Drops form the Rainbow Swords and purge Dark Matter from DDD, and you subsequently defeat Dark Matter. Kirby then uses the sword to make new Rainbow Bridges. This is the true ending. Game 4 is Kirby Superstar, and it breaks form and is a breath of fresh air after playing 3 Kirby games in a row. There are 6 game modes, as well as a remake of Kirby Dreamland, albeit altered and much shorter, and 2 minigames that can be played single or multiplayer. Spring Breeze is the first game, and it's just the altered and easy Kirby Dreamland, so I decided to quickly run through it. I even went through the tutorial.
Am I colorblind?
They retain 3 of the 4 bosses, and hopefully they remove Ricco. No. Enough running! Wow, powers, that was super easy. Next is Xenoblade. This is the first appearance of Xenoblade, who we thought was a D-Day to Planet Popstar, but it's apparently just a menacing mom. She's ruining crops, but nobody knows it's to feed her kids, so she's painted as the villain. It's played like every other Kirby game, so no different, but it's really sweet. After Kirby assaults the mom, he moves to the right side of the screen where he finds her 3 hungry chicks. He feeds them with Wispy Woods apples and teaches them to fly, where they then leave with their mother to parts unknown. Kirby would be an excellent father. Playing this also unlocks Revenge of Meta Knight, so we'll play that next. Revenge of Meta Knight is fun, but it's kinda weird that this is the first time he's fleshed out at all. His first appearance was in Kirby's Adventure, and he didn't do much except stick his goons on Kirby before trying to fight him himself. What's interesting though is that Meta Knight heavily resembles Kirby, something Kirby reveals when he unmasks them in their fights. This has led to a lot of speculation over the years about whether or not they're related or members of the same species, because to this day, Kirby has no real origin. But on to Revenge of Meta Knight. I'm not sure what it's getting revenge for. I guess because Kirby beat him in one fight. But anyway, Meta Knight invades Dreamland with his halberd because the residents are lazy. Kirby opposes him so that they can keep being lazy. Kirby boards the halberd with the help of Xenoblade after being shot off the first time, and dismantles it from the inside until it's nearly destroyed. All of Meta Knight's crew evacuates as the halberd goes down, but he stays to have a showdown with Kirby. Kirby defeats Meta Knight and then escapes on a wheelie helper and is seen escaping the ship, and Meta Knight shortly evacuates as well. I've seen the halberd twice now, and both times it's been destroyed. Gourmet Race is the source of one of my favorite pieces of Nintendo music, but, as the name says, it's a race. I've never been a fan of time trials or races or timers of any kind, because if you lose you have to reset, you make no progress, you just waste your time. The only exception to this rule I've ever found is Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, because you do make progress every time you reset. Unless you just suck at the game. The story is this: Kirby floats above a mountain in search of food, and DDD challenges him to a race. That's it. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even finish it. This is the first time I quit out of boredom rather than because of Ricco. Not that I've ever quit because of Ricco or anything. Next up is the Great Cave Offensive, and until now I thought the stage in Super Smash Bros. Was a reference to Subspace Emissary's Great Maze. This also may be non-canon. It's kind of unclear, but this is officially the first time Kirby has interacted with elements from another Nintendo game. As long as you don't count Link murdering him in his dreams over the course of Link's Awakening. I got a few treasures, but I'm really not too keen on finding all of them. I'm not even going to show footage of the whole adventure, and just enough to fill its time slot. Or at least that's what I originally thought, but it turns out that the main game, Milky Way Wishes, doesn't unlock until you complete every other game mode. So I went back and did Gourmet Race and the Great Cave Offensive so I could unlock Milky Way Wishes and play it. You ingrates better be thankful. It wasn't fun. Except for fighting the virus in the Great Cave Offensive, that was kind of fun. But I did finally unlock Milky Way Wishes. It has the same premise as most other Kirby games, with one big difference. You cannot copy abilities. Instead, you find abilities, and then you can cycle through them at your leisure. I loved it! I'm a big RPG guy, and this really felt like one, because I felt like I was choosing the right equipment to beat the boss rather than using what was available right outside his door. The story is also way more fleshed out than the others. That's not really saying much though. The Sun and Moon are fighting because of reasons. plot convenience, I guess. Kirby comes out to see what all the hubbub is about, and a gesture, marked, that I recognize as a very annoying boss battle in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, comes out and asks Kirby to gather star power from different planets so they can summon Nova. Nova is a powerful being that grants wishes when summoned. Marks explains that he wants to use the power of Nova to end the feud between the sun and the moon, and Kirby agrees. Kirby travels from planet to planet collecting star power and copy abilities, and eventually summons Nova, who looks like a bunch of scraps from a metal workshop that just got welded together. Kirby, the being who can only say prepares to make his wish, but Marks rushes forward and knocks him away before wishing for control of Planet Popstar. Nova is chill and doesn't really care whose wish he grants and obliges. As Marks turns into a big bat creature, he reveals he took the sun and moon into fighting. Still unsure how though. Luckily, through the power of Deus Ex Machina, the star power Kirby collected turns into a starship, and he uses it to wound Nova and defeat Marks, seemingly killing both Marks and Nova as they collide into each other and explode. The sun and moon end their feud that I'm still unsure about, and all is well. Apparently beating this also unlocks the arena, where you battle every boss from every game mode, which I think is neat. You're allowed a total of 5 maximum tomatoes over the course of the fight, but once you use them all, you're out. It's kind of like boss battles in Super Smash Bros. Except worse. There are also 2 minigames that I'll wait and discuss in Kirby 64, as I want to cover them all together. At this point, I was getting pretty burnt out on Kirby games. Like, the formula's fun, but they weren't designed to be played one after another. But at least Kirby's Dreamland 3 allows you a player 2 who becomes the character Gooey, a blob who is almost identical to Kirby in terms of mobility and copy ability, which makes it fun to play as, instead of other games where you have to play as some underpowered creature. Gooey is also interesting in his lore, as he's a member of the Dark Matter race, but instead of being evil, he decided to be friends with Kirby. Speaking of Dark Matter, he's the villain. Again. He possesses the characters Kirby always beats, instead of Kirby himself. It turns out that's not the true ending though. But forget all that, the real headline is, Samus is here! She appears in all her blonde-haired glory and thanks Kirby for doing something, I guess. I should really get around to playing these games one day. But the important thing is, this is still canon, while the Great Cave Offensive and the minigame of Mario, Luigi, and Birdo may not be. That means Kirby is officially in the Nintendo universe as of this title. Good for him. Now, I didn't fight the true boss because honestly, I just didn't want to click the secret star from each level or whatever. Also, because he sounds disgusting. The boss is Zero. He's a grotesque giant eye and was responsible for Dark Matter's invasion. He fights by shooting blood out of his cuts. When he's weakened, the iris bursts open, spraying blood everywhere. And I don't know how this game was rated K through A. Kirby wins as always, and Peach returns to Dreamland. Until the events of Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards. This game, I was just not feeling another Kirby adventure. Especially not in this art style. Around this time, my little brother was claiming he was bored, so I roped him into playing the minigames from Kirby Superstar, and it took me, since I didn't want to do them alone against computers. And while it may appear he beat me in all of them, he actually lost in the most important one, Bumper Crop Bump. But really, these minigames are kind of fun. For like, one round. There's not a whole lot of replayability here, hence why they're minigames. Still, it's something to get my brother to engage me in these as he delighted in destroying me. After he left, I started the main game, and I didn't make it very far. Just enough to get a general feeling, and it's alright. The story is the same, and I'm saying this very hypocritically because I religiously buy Pokemon every year. Planet gets attacked by bad guy. Thing breaks. Kirby must find all pieces and beat final boss. Final boss is not the real final boss. Beat real final boss. If you want the actual plot, I'll link the wiki. You'll see it's exactly what I said. It's a shame. Playing all these games back to back is probably what killed my enthusiasm for them. Maybe I'll come back and finish them at a different time. But that still doesn't protect them from my many criticisms. So much of these games can be beaten by just floating at the top of the screen and tanking everything until you reach the end. Game over means literally nothing in these games unless you worry about score, and if you don't, getting game over to gain more lives can be strategic, which is antithetical to what a game is about. So many of the copy abilities are just bad. Why would I want Plasma when I got Yo-Yo or Paracel? I just keep the powers for as long as I could. Why not go the route of other games and make it so I need other powers to advance? Why do you keep making me bully Wispy Woods? He didn't do anything wrong. He is a tree. And on the subject of the bosses, once Kirby was buffed and didn't lose abilities after one hit, I found he could spam the power to kill them quickly. Kracko. Just Kracko. I don't want to use Kirby's animal friends. They handle awfully and nerf Kirby's powers, but he still takes all the damage. Except for Kind, he's fire. But this is why I stopped collecting all those stupid pieces. And besides Kirby Superstar, every game felt the same. They used the same bosses or plot twists. Even the lands are the same. It just felt lazy after a while. But there's one thing left in this to try and save it. Challenge mode. It opens on Magalore, someone we didn't meet yet in all these games, so we're off to a terrific start because I'm already lost. Apparently, he made Kirby an amusement park to atone for past sins or something. My first thought is I guess everyone who crosses Kirby eventually becomes his friend. My second thought is, this guy needs to review his definition of amusement, because this is straight abuse. Pretty sure everything here is trying to kill Kirby. But on the other hand, they're also not fun. They could have been fun. They had the potential to be fun, but instead they decided to slap a timer on everything. Timers give me anxiety in video games. Instead of enjoying the level, I feel compelled to rush it. And sure, I play Super Mario, and all those levels have timers, but I've been able to put Super Mario down to do a favor for my mom, come back, and still have plenty of time to finish the level. On each stage, I finish with around a minute left every time, and that's not encouraging. I noticed there's a secret room on every stage, but I'm too busy rushing to check them out. And each level caps with a race. Sure, why not make the worst part of your game even worse? But credit where credit is due, and there's one room I vastly enjoy. In this room, they let you only use Kirby's moves from Super Smash Bros., which I thought was brilliant despite the timer. I turned my recording software back on for this. After Kirby beats all of Maglore's attractions, he leaves on a ship, and Kirby sees all his old enemies and goes to hang with them. It could have been worse. At least he didn't have to fight the eye that gushes blood again. Overall, I highly recommend this collection. 9 out of 10. Would play again.
You know, Kirby's been through a lot, and he's been able to keep a smile through it all. It kind of makes me feel bad for doing something to him off-screen that no one can prove in a court of law. Is this guilt? Whatever. At least I can finally sleep fully clothed with all the lights on like I always do, without some annoying video game character bothering me. You guys can see yourselves out, right?
Hey!
No.
Look!
No.
Listen!
No!